Typically, when someone pings me directly with a replay, it's usually a banger. And hopefully today's no exception. I am going to this one completely blind, but was sent this replay by Codex here. He's facing off against Gojira 2 XMT Legends, both new and old. And yeah, we'll be taking a look at their battle today. Jatan the Black up on the Lamassu is definitely an unusual choice, but pretty solid. 52 melee defense is very high for a flying single entity. He's got his cool little magic negation stuff. Pretty poor weapon strength, not a lot of armor piercing, but overall very interesting. It should be very interesting. That silence in particular will be decent against the Ogres. Not that they're necessarily known for their magic prowess, but certainly lore of the Great Maw. Very key in sustaining expensive units like these gold bags man-eaters. The man-eater himself, I should say, is here as well. Butcher of the Great Maw. We've got some pickbacks in the front with some Noblar trappers backing them up. Lead belchers as well. And yeah, then dual hand weapon bulls with the Crusher's great weapons for a nice elite anti-large sweeper. Yeah, Sneaky Gits frontline. We've got for the Chaos Dwarfs, Hobgoblin Wolf Raiders on the flanks. Looks like a couple of blunderbusses. Yeah, and then 3 Fireglaves. 3 blunderbusses, 3 Fireglaves. So quite a bit of range damage. And we'll see how that plays out for them here. Certainly the long-range anti-infantry of those lead belchers is going to be pretty painful in general, but it's Altdorf outskirts. It's been a while since I've seen this map, but it does have some yeah, it is Altdorf outskirts. There's the city itself, all the Imperials watching this happen, like, oh, please don't need this. Anyway, yeah, it does have some terrain here, so you see this kind of slight rise in the middle that definitely kind of changes the dynamic of the battle, can give some very slight up and downhill sort of engagements, and also interrupts line of sight for gun units, but right now looks to be that the Chaos Dwarfs are doing some really nice damage to units that get close, that anti-large, and more importantly, charge defense. I mean, something Crusher's Mass will still get through, but you see the charge did actually relatively little damage considering the Crushers kind of contacted the front of the unit there, so pretty good stuff. A little cascading fire cloak as well for the blunderbusses, help them buff up their melee defense up to 56 as they get charged down by some units penetrating into the second line here. Gold bag, dual hand weapons is the way, so even the bulls are loaded out in the appropriate kit here. He's gonna do some work getting through some of these infantry. Yeah, despite that extra melee defense, those blunderbusses won't hold on for too much longer. Bottom, you know, a few extra seconds at the very least, but in a close battle, those few extra seconds can end up mattering pretty significantly. We get a Hobgoblin Raider charge here, trying to shore up the flank. Get a pretty good charge on those trappers, but the Sneaky Gits do rout there. Gotta love some Noblar on Hobgoblin action here. But we'll get over to the more important units. The beautiful olive green Chaos Dwarf blunderbusses here. I love this color scheme in particular. Chaos Dwarf color schemes in general are all quite good. But yeah, I do like the green color scheme. Blue, honestly, is really cool too. Classic red, always nice. But yeah, let's see. The Ogres are starting to take some attrition. And right now, Jatan, he has been silencing, I think. He's hanging out by the Butcher at the very least. And could try and charge him down into melee, which is certainly going to help. We haven't seen a ton of healing other spells being used here. Yeah, I mean, Troll Guts is the only spell that has been brought, so definitely got to keep an eye out for that healing. But the more that the Butcher just tries to engage Jatan here, the worse. I mean, worse it's going to be to a degree, although if he can get a good engagement to just win here, Dismember being used to slow Jatan's speed, and he's taking some hits in the back. But he does decide to just turn around and fight the Butcher. He's got some range support. More Infernal Guard are also filtering in right now. So as long as he can hold his leadership here, he should be able to get some good damage done. And even if he does rout, should be able to get into the air, get to relative safety here. Yeah, you can see the point-blank lead belchers wants no part of that. Gonna swing up and around, but those Infernal Guard, yeah, just absolutely devastating. And that Butcher, I would imagine, unfortunately we don't get to see the Winds of Magic, but I'd imagine he's used a lot of the Winds of Magic available to him. But yeah, Jatan now using his mobility. Lack of armor piercing, not so much of a big deal against low armor lead belchers. These ones also being chased off by Sneaky Gits here, so doing pretty well overall, although caster snipe in reverse being attempted here as the bagger of gold. Does go after this Demon Smith Sorcerer here, who's going to try and run for his life with a little cascading Fire Cloak. Yeah, hasn't used his pistol much, but looks like this unit of blunderbuss is mostly free from high-value targets. Yeah, the Man-Eaters here getting rounded off. The Crushers are still alive. A little Fireball, something being cast them there. Does trigger Kindle Flame at the very least. Yeah, a handful of seconds of damage bonus, which in particular for the Fireglaves is quite good as they fight these elite targets. Kindle Flame has always been the best lore attribute for any lore of Magic, getting map-wide, well, for factions that can capitalize on it at least, to have units which can deal fire damage, especially passively. Just get so much extra value from having access to Kindle Flame. If you're spamming those cheap spells like Fireball and Cascading Fire Cloak, like what we have seen here. But yeah, at this point, Goldbag fails to actually finish Demon Smith Sorcerer and also gets himself just absolutely gatted by a beautiful firing line of Fireglaves here. Yeah, the Pigback Rider is going to get a little charge into the side there, but they also get a melee defense buff, so should be able to hold back that assault no problem and continue firing. Yeah, the Bagger gets routed here, finished off by the missiles, but certainly not over yet. Jatan's going to use his net, snare the Lead Belchers. He's still trying to chase them down. We've got a handful more Lead Belchers here. They are quite dangerous, these very precious Fireglaves here in the late game, especially that one unit that's still completely healthy. Pretty blocked up right now. They take quite a bit of AoE damage from the Lead Belchers, so let's get back in their view as they try and hold the point. They're not actually holding the point, but yeah, more or less. Hold the point here against these Crushers. Once again, we see the Crushers charging into the front, get some impact damage, but not doing a lot of actual charge damage with their animations. They're going to have to pull back and away from that. Fireglaves going into melee mode, maybe here. Actually do come forward to stand on the objective, which is definitely the right play. It is Conquest, and the objective points are ticking up in the favor of the Chaos Dwarfs. So Jatan in pretty good position here, and Codex lands another Fireball there on Goldbag. We're going to see Jatan chase off the opposing Lord here, using that Lamasu's mobility to really nice effect, honestly, even though the value isn't that impressive. Tactically, he's done what he needed to, and honestly, keeping that caster silenced the whole time. I'd be curious, maybe Goji, if you did watch this, comment down below. Were you actually able to cast any spells in that game? I'm very curious. Or did the Lamasu's... It definitely seemed, from my perspective, that I didn't see a lot of spells being cast. Like, we look at the heal cap here. We can maybe even manually check, actually, on... The Man-Eaters are unfortunately gone, but, yeah, the healing cap here... Unfortunately, I don't think we'll say. Maybe if I get directly over it, but no, probably not. But yeah, maybe a tiny bit of their healing cap. Maybe like one heal from, you know, an army ability or something else, but don't think that caster necessarily did a lot. Did get some small amount of melee value, but overall, definitely a very fun game. And credit to Codex here, Gunline for the Chaos Dwarfs. Ends up working out quite well, and a fun one for sure. Always enjoy a nice gun build. And the Man-Eater counter rush was fairly effective. The Bulls actually punched way above their weight, which is impressive considering how thick they are. But actually get some pretty good value, especially for the gold spent. Lead Belchers are, you know, ubiquitous, very much one of the Ogre Kingdom's best units. Crushers also. This one doesn't quite pay for itself. They are quite expensive. Didn't get the value they needed to. But honestly, they didn't have a lot of high value targets to fight, except maybe Jatan himself. One thing Gojira could have done differently is to kind of mirror, maybe, Jatan with the Crushers and help protect the caster a little bit. Maybe, you know, unify those two units up together so that they can help fight and repel Jatan and actually maybe get some value out of those spells. But certainly easier said than done, especially against the guns here. All three of these Fireglaves just absolutely feasting on value. Blunderbusses get some respectable value as well. Interesting to see the sneaky get front line. One of them actually does get 900 value. Maybe just got some favorable engagements against the Noblars there. Didn't really track that engagement too much. It is Noblars versus Hobgoblins after all, but nonetheless, Hobgoblin Wolf Raiders get some nice support value as well. Overall, great performance, I have to say. And yeah, both characters for Codex didn't really do a lot of, again, value, but tactical value is hard to quantify sometimes. So definitely juicing up, Kindled Flame on these fire glaives in particular definitely helps them pay for themselves. So do consider that if you're taking a faction with a lot of fire damage and you have access to Lord of Fire. There's a bunch of factions that can do it, but even something like a reminder for Empire players out there, you do have a few units that do fire damage, but something like, Warrior Priest, Banner of Eternal Flame, I've talked about a little bit recently, but it's a way that you can get access to whatever you want Kindle Flame on, right? Whether that is some artillery even, you can have them stand in the back line and give flaming damage to like a Great Cannon, or Hellblaster Volley Gun if you want to have some fun. You could even have them ride alongside some war wagons if you're trying to go for more of like a kite-oriented build, and maybe you need to shoot down like a regenerating single entity, get that extra damage boost, and mitigate the healing as well with that fire damage. Just really, really so much synergy. Of course, Warriors of Chaos recently had their fire damage restored to the dragon, which makes it an excellent synergy choice. Not to mention you've got tons of horn stuff, a lot of which unfortunately is not wildly cost-effective. But you do have some certain units which certainly would benefit from a bit of Kindle Flame, not only from Khorne, but from Tzeentch as well, right? Or at least, like the Tzeentch Horse Marauders, right? Do some pretty good damage already, and also have their own weakness to fire contact effect, which will stack with Kindle Flame, and just, there's a lot of synergy with Kindle Flame, basically. Best lore attribute of all time, probably in history, and always will be, to be honest. I don't see anything else unseating that, although Light, with its new, new lore attribute for Light, I have seen used to good effect on a couple of occasions. Maybe I'll talk more about that another time, but that's it for today. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you like this sort of content, be sure to like and subscribe, hit that bell notification button. Every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thanks again. We'll see you next time.